Okay, I'm sitting on my couch here trying to see if I can make a quick video about our homeschooling curriculum for the spring, the first trimester. I'm in first grade, and we used a mixture of a few different things. Mostly our base curriculum was Oak Meadow, and I looked online, and there aren't a lot of videos on Facebook or on YouTube about Oak Meadow or using it, which made it really difficult when I decided to use it because I didn't have a lot to go on. Um, but I understand that a lot of people are very, very serious about how to use this curriculum and why. And so I understand if people were hesitant because they didn't want to get backlash of you're using this wrong, or this is not how this works, and this is why you don't substitute and things like that. So just to let you know, this is what we do. I'm not recommending this to anyone, but just so there is something out there if anyone is interested. So I got the first grade syllabus as a gift from someone in my city. I put a call out on a Facebook homeschool group. If anyone used the curriculum and could give me some, there's my daughter there, give me some advice on if they liked it and what they thought about it. And they actually said, we used it once, we switched to something else, but you can have it. And if you don't know, it's kind of a pricey curriculum, and actually it just went up again.
Okay.
Okay. It just went up again, and so it's an older version. It's actually a 2005, and I actually wanted an older version because I heard that it went a little slower, and that a lot of people really liked it, and it was cheaper. So I wanted to go with all older versions as long as I could anyway to begin with. So I might have to shift a couple times because I'm sitting on a couch here. Let's see if I can. There we go. Okay, so this is the book, and it has I think they still do a trimester. So it has 3 trimesters, and it's spring, or it says quarter technically. First quarter, second quarter, and third quarter. And then fourth is summer. So it is spring, winter, fall, winter, spring. So we just finished the fall one. We started winter a few weeks ago. And the first part that we just finished, the first quarter, is all going through lowercase and uppercase letters again. And this is first grade. So we have for the older versions, there's an actual fairy tale book. I think the newer versions, it's all wrapped into the one syllabus, but this one has its own, and all this is how to draw the letters and the books. And I'm going to be honest, we didn't use all of this, and I read this a lot in the few Oak Meadow Facebook groups I'm a part of. Not everyone's crazy about the stories. Now, we read a few of them, and I think the one that my kids liked the best was Jordan and Maria, I think, the one with the herbalist. Yes, because they ate acorns without properly preparing them. And my kids loved that one because we still had mint and things like that growing in our garden. And so they were able to make their own mint tea, and they had that while we learned about it. And they really liked that one, I think, because they could relate to it. But I think we got as far as maybe we just really weren't that into the stories. My kids aren't really into princes and princesses that much, and if it takes too long, they're just not interested in it. So what we did instead is, I know there's a group, and I'll put it below when I find it, but there's actually another book that a lot of people use instead of this one. And it's Fairytales through the alphabet as well, but I can't remember what it is, but I might purchase that when my other kids go through this program. But what we did is we just went through our Fairytales books. We just did the stories that we knew, Jack and the Beanstalk, Beauty and the Beast, and I read a lot of the Grimm's ones because we actually will read the real old ones that are, to some people, a little more morbid or scary or something. We actually use those. So we read those. We still did our fairy tales at night. I just didn't connect them completely to the letters. And then when we did do the letters, I just found a way to connect it to a story we were reading or something we were learning or something they're interested in. I know a few times we would connect it to an animal we were studying, like the most obvious ones like S for snake, as opposed to connecting it to a specific story. So, did I use this? I used like the first 1/3 of it, and that's it. But it's okay. It's okay. This is still the spine, still the backbone. We did circle time. We did what would be considered like a sun salutation circle time rhyme. And my kids loved that. They loved the drawing. Lesson 7. So, like, this is lesson 7. It's for the whole week. And it says, language arts, you're going to be doing M and N. So, we would read a story about M. We would draw M. We would talk about M. Same with N. And they would need to recount the story back after you read it to them like that. Like, what they recommend is you read it at night. And then the next day you say, so what happened in the story? And so they can have that night to think about it. And then they talk about it with you. And then they had these little rhyming activities, and we did those sometimes. Sometimes we didn't. And then it says, like, practice upper and lower cases, and then do exercises. Now, sometimes we did the exercises, but I have very active kids, and I have a very active first grader. And so I really don't need her to do exercises because she's always practicing a sport or jumping on a trampoline, or right now she's really into hula hooping and is, like, doing tricks with her hula hoop and stuff. And then she also does sports lessons and things like that. So I didn't really do a lot of specific like school exercise simply because we do it anyway. One thing that I really liked about Oak Meadow is that a lot of it's just supposed to be organically happening. It's supposed to be an experience that you would just do throughout the day. You wouldn't have to worry about, I've got to make, from 3 to 4, we have to do this. It's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like, okay, we're going to talk about this while we make dinner and while we go outside and play. And then we're going to sit down and write our story out, but we're also going to be doing other things too. And so the actual amount of time where you're sitting down and you're doing focused instruction and like formal, organized schooling, that's just like that blatantly obvious you're doing school is like very, very small. I think most people say, at least until 4th grade, it's only a few hours a day. And I would find that to be true for us. We only do like where you have to sit down and get stuff done, like maybe an hour to an hour and a half a day. And then everything else is just weaved into the process, and so they're doing it because it's part of their life. And so anyway, then math, and then social studies. And social studies was making a calendar, going through yesterday, today, tomorrow, lunar cycles, seasonal things. And so my kids loved that because that was easy. And that also tied into science, which in Oak Meadow is loosely based in Waldorf practices. You don't have to religiously be Waldorf. And honestly, if you talk to people who are seriously like Waldorf Steiner people, they won't use Oak Meadow. They'll use something else. Anyway, or they'll send their kids to a Waldorf school. But it's very much about nature study. And so science, like this one was make a bird feeder, talk about the birds. I think either before this one or after this one, you talk about the birds that are leaving in your area and you draw them, and we did that and the kids really liked that. And then music, they want you to play recorder, and then crafts, and they wanted you to start practicing knitting in 1st grade. So that's basically, so that'd be 1 week, and then I would have those 3 pages or so for my week, and then I would have to myself sit down and say, okay, what day am I doing this? What day am I doing this? When are we doing this? Where can I plug in this? So it is very parent heavy in that sense. You can hear my kids over there. They're at the table. So that's what it was. Now, what did we do? I used this program for language arts. I used this program for science. I used this program for social studies. Music, we use piano, and we use something called Hoffman Academy. I'll put a link below. It's on YouTube. And we did like 1 lesson a week. You watch the guy do the lesson. It's free, and then you practice. And my daughter loves to play piano. My husband plays piano. And so we did that. And when she gets a little bit older, she will probably go to an actual school or something where she can learn it. All right, Elsa, go back over there till I'm done. So that's what we're going to do with that. All of our kids will learn piano first, kind of base their music theory, and then move on. So we didn't do recorder because we already have our piano, and it just made more sense to me. I studied piano when I was a kid. My husband plays now. I don't really play now, but it just makes sense because someone's always on the piano in our house. Then the other thing I did not do was math. Okay, you really need to go, okay? Was math. And what we did instead was solely based on my daughter. This is what we did. And it is not Waldorf in the slightest. It is not, it's a worksheet, and it's the only worksheet that she does. And she does one a day. And it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And so it's not this long, drawn-out math process. But she gets it. And it's shown in a different way. If you're not familiar with Math UC, it's completely different than if you were to go to like a public school, because the way that they teach it is in, like, I would just say it's like clumps. So like right now she's doing single digit addition and subtraction, which isn't exactly true because there's like 100s and double digits in here too. But and then I think the next one, beta, is like multiplication, I think. And so you just go through one book at a time. It's not like this is first grade math and it has a little bit of everything. This is second grade math and it has a little bit of everything. It's actually basic ideas that build on each other. And so some people complain that if you start to do this and then for some reason your kid has to go to public school or private school, they might be behind in some ways and ahead in other ways because of the way that it's organized. But this made the most sense to us because my daughter loves Minecraft, loves Legos, building, very visual learner, and she's also really enjoys like engineering, design type stuff. And so this just made a lot of sense to us. And I've shown pictures on the blog of what the math looks like, so you can go on there to actually see what it looks like. Like, this is the teacher manual, but it has a big book of worksheets, and we tear out a page and she fills it out, and I help her because she can't read yet. So I read what it says, but usually if it's just some math facts, she can figure it out. And yeah, it comes with a DVD, but I don't use it. I just read the lesson and talk her through it, and we sit on the floor and we play with the blocks, and we don't grade it, and there's no tests. I just go through, and if she has one wrong, I say, okay, no, this one's wrong, and redo it. So we use it as gently as we can to fit with the rest of the curriculum, but I think it does give her an idea of doing worksheets, and I think it's a stronger math foundation. Now, I know I don't want to get any hate about this because some people love the way Oak Meadow does math, and that's awesome. But for my oldest daughter, it just didn't work. It wouldn't have worked. So it might work for my second or my third or my fourth child, and we'll do the math gnomes and the stories and everything. But I really like this curriculum, this program, and how they lay it out. One other thing. Now, when I got my two books from a very nice homeschooling mom in the area, when she gave them to me, I ordered then everything that I didn't have. See her right there? She really wants to be part of this video.
I don't. I'm just trying to go in the playroom and play and go back.
Okay, then you go do that, okay?
Yeah, because I don't want to distract you.
Okay, so I bought the newer version of a lot of the extra stuff. The guide to teaching at home that they do, and I really liked that one. Crafts for the early grades. I'm reading it off my bookshelf right now because I don't have them all with me. Crafts for the early grades, word families, which is what we're doing now, and then this. And this is great. This is the health curriculum. And I'll just show one. We don't do this a lot right now, but it's good until third grade because here, I'll just show you an example. Like unit 1. Okay, so like this is obviously like body awareness. Okay, so if you can see that, let's see how it has like kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, and so it's the same lesson. It's just set up for different age groups, and so the content is different as they get older. And so this book will be used for 4 years. So we use this off and on as whenever I want to do a lesson. Like there was a lesson about awareness or about healthy hygiene or things like that, then I'll pull this out and I'll use this. But I'm going to be using it more second grade and third grade, I think, because right now she's still in first grade and going along with the play-based school. I want her to play as much as possible. I want her to create and write. So, yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. I cut out some stuff. I kept some stuff. I messed around with it, and that seems to be the consensus with most moms and dads that homeschool with this curriculum is they keep it as the spine, and then they shift stuff around and they add stuff and they take stuff away. Now the great thing is that that spine will stay the same through all of my kids. I don't have to buy more books. I don't have to buy more worksheets. I don't have to do anything else. I mean, I'll have to buy new math if we stick with this math. Like, if that's the way that they learn math the best, then we'll continue to use that. If not, we'll split it. I really wanted something that she could still play with them as much as possible and do a lot of activity and not just be sitting at the table filling stuff out. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me or to our lifestyle. So that's why we chose Oak Meadow to begin with. And then we implement as we see. And so right now, that was her first half of school, that first fall. And we're into winter now. And soon we'll be switching over to spring, which is what I'm most excited about because that is days outside. And do I think that that first quarter sets you up for reading? I would say yes, especially if you follow the Oak Meadow guidelines with having an older child learn how to read, which is what they recommend. My daughter is 6. She's in this first grade, and she will be 7 in a month or two. And so she will be in 6 to 7 in first grade. And so she's learning how to read right now, the second part of the year for her first grade. And you take the time to make sure that they really have that strong base of understanding and that they're ready to read, that you're not like forcing them to sit down and read. And so I have been really impressed with the program of the fact that it's just happening. So I'll do another one if you guys liked this after we finish the winter quarter. What we liked about it, what we didn't like about it, if we switched things up more, if we stuck to a rigid schedule. I will say we're doing more now. We're doing full 5 days now, where I was only doing about 4 days in the fall. A lot of that was because we wanted to be outside as much as possible, and we had a really nice, warm fall. And so any day it was nice out, we went outside. We didn't sit down even to write out our W's. We were outside, and then we were inside making food and talking and creating things and just taking care of the house. So we did about a solid 4 days, I would say, consistently. If you want to know anything else about it, I'll try to answer in the comments. And if you want to see our weeks, I'll put the link below. It's urbanpractitioner.com. And that is I try to update every week, just little snippets of what we did that week, a couple pictures, so you can kind of see, as opposed to an overview, what each week looked like for us. Especially examples of chalkboard art and the main lesson books, which are the main activity that you do in Oak Meadow. All right, have a great day, guys.